This is the Good and the Beautiful Preschool book. I did do this with both of my sons. It's pretty open and go. There is a little bit of cutting involved in some lessons, but you should still see those pages in here because I already did the cutting with my other son. So by the time I got to this book with my second child, I had already had all the pieces. We did really like this book. We don't really use the Good and the Beautiful anymore, just because I've learned a little bit more and learned more what's out there, and we like to do Logic of English and Singapore Dimensions math, but we really did like the preschool version of this. So here's kind of the extra items you need. I didn't really find that you really need these. Like a lot of these, when you need a spoon for a bunch of these, it's like they point with a spoon. They didn't really care. They're fine pointing with their fingers. We didn't finish this book with my second son because we went through a good portion of it. We got up to lesson 40, I believe. But he had it all down. So we were just I was like, well, let's just move on. So it's really cute and colorful. And when we first started this, he was still, my oldest son was 4 and my youngest son was doing this at 2. So I kind of jumped the gun a little bit, but I was like, you know, whatever, I'll start with both. And he just kind of scribbled a little bit. So we paused it, waited about a year and a half, and about that, and then started up again. So in the beginning pages, you'll kind of just see some scribbles. But it's cute. 1 through 5, the letter A it starts with. I think this does go in order, alphabetical order. And it's cute. They have art here, and they have little videos you can watch on it. There is kind of a lot of talking. When I first started this, it was my first ever experience with homeschooling. Just kind of dipping my toes in the water. And I started reading everything and going through it really thoroughly, and they quickly got bored. So I tended to kind of skip over some of the reading. So yeah, this was still when we were really new. It was only 2. And he did some of the cutting and pasting here. He did the B upside down. That's okay. So yeah, I mean, some of this involves like cutting and doing some matching and stuff like that. So you'll want to cut that ahead of time. But we did really like this for preschool. I thought it laid a really good foundation of letters until he kind of learned them and had them down. So we're already on unit 2 here. And so how I did it was I'd be like, okay, circle the big C. And then they'd circle the big C. Circle little B, and then they'd do that. So that's why they're all circled here. And in here, you have the option to like cut these snowmen out and be like, put the snowman on the big D. And we're like, oh, just circle it. Because, I don't know, it was a lot of extra work, and they just didn't really care to do that. They'd rather use their markers. We really liked the preschool version, and then I did buy the kindergarten language arts and kindergarten math for my older son when that time came. And we got about halfway through them, but we didn't really love them. I think that they jumped around a lot, and almost like especially in the math, like they kind of expected you to have it down and know it, and we only talked about it very briefly. So I didn't love it, so we ended up switching. And we are more of a secular family. We don't mind faith-based stuff so much. I mean, especially if you can easily skip over it. We do talk about that kind of stuff too, and make our own decisions on everything. But we definitely tend to lean a little bit more secular. And with the language arts program for kindergarten, I kind of found that they'd be like, okay, like between one lesson, they'd be like, okay, you should have memorized 10 sight words, jump to the next lesson. And it was like, well, I like a little bit more practice with that, you know, learning it a little bit more. Like I want the book to help us learn that before just expecting us to have it down before jumping ahead. So we didn't love it. And Logic of English, we do really, really love. I talk about it in a bunch of videos just because it kind of comes up. But we don't really like their handwriting at all, so we use handwriting without tears. We do like that. But as far as its phonics and teaching to read, we really love Logic of English. So I do also have videos on the Good and the Beautiful Kindergarten Math, the Good and the Beautiful Kindergarten Language Arts, and then a bunch of other curriculums that we've tried because I see YouTube videos and I buy curriculum. We obviously haven't gotten to this stuff, so it's all clean and nice. But with my first son, we went through all of it. And I mean, I don't know. I really like how it's laid out. Like, find all the R's. And they can just use like a dauber and do all the R's here. And they really liked it. And my son was so excited. Like, oh, we get a new letter today. Because some lessons you don't get a new letter. There'd be like a couple lessons in between. And they're like, oh, we're to the letter T. We got a T. We can do all the T's. So he really liked that. It was like collecting. So it is really pretty. I like how this one's laid out. In the math, the kindergarten math, it does feel a little bit just like there's too much going on almost. But I like how this one is. And for the B's and the D's, they teach it as, because we've had a lot of trouble with B's and D's. We're still kind of working on it, but they teach it as like a baseball and a baseball bat for B, and a D is a donut. And we kind of teach it. I heard about it somewhere and I kind of changed it to my own, but we teach it as a belly and a diaper. So I'll do a B with like a belly button, and then I'll do a D with a little like dash for a diaper. And that's really helped my kids a lot. So but this book was fun. It didn't feel like we were doing school and sitting down and doing book work. It felt like we were having fun and doing activities. And I mean, they kind of knew a lot of this stuff too. And, you know, they obviously love school a lot more when they know the stuff and they don't have to, you know, sit and think about it too much. But hey, that is what school and learning is. And I believe this is the end where we go over everything we've learned and do like kind of our final test here. And then we have completed the book.